Karen mocked the kid's leg brace. He walked across the graduation stage anyway. The lawns of Pinewood Estates were a testament to Karen Hensley's reign. At 50, she was the unchallenged queen of the HOA, her eagle eyes spotting every misplaced trash can or untrimmed shrub. Her cul-de-sac gleamed with order. White picket fences, identical mailboxes, not a blade of grass out of place. Karen's silver blonde hair was as sharp as her tongue, her smile a weapon she wielded at meetings. To her, Pinewood was a canvas, and she was its artist, painting perfection with rules. Neighbors complied, not out of love, but fear of her neatly typed violation notices. It was a crisp October evening when Karen's world tilted. She was patrolling the neighborhood, her clipboard a scepter, when she spotted a teenager limping across the street. Jacob Torres, 16, was a quiet kid from number 24, his legs wrapped in metal braces that glinted under the streetlights. He moved slowly, a backpack slung over one shoulder, his face set with focus. Karen had seen him before, always alone, never at HOA events. She'd heard whispers, something about a condition, therapy, his single mom working double shifts. To Karen, he was just another loose thread in her tapestry. Jacob was crossing to the park, where kids often gathered, leaving soda cans and noise in their wake. Karen's lips pursed. She didn't trust teens, especially ones who looked off. As he neared, she noticed his braces, clunky, scuffed, clearly well used. Without thinking, she called out, "Hey, kid! Those braces make you sound like a robot. Can't you walk quieter?" Her laugh was sharp, meant to chide, but it landed like a slap. Jacob froze, his cheeks flushing. A few kids nearby snickered, their phones already out. "Sorry," he mumbled, eyes on the ground, and hurried past, his braces clanking louder in the silence. Karen shrugged, jotting a note about park litter, oblivious to the spark she'd ignited. She didn't see the girl across the street, Mia, Jacob's friend, recording the exchange. By nightfall, Mia's video hit X, captioned, "Show A lady mocks disabled kid. Disgusting." Pinewood Karen. The clip spread like wildfire. Karen's mocking laugh, Jacob's hunched shoulders. It was raw, undeniable. By morning, Russia Pinewood Karen trended locally, then beyond. Comments poured in. What a heartless bully. Who mocks a kid's disability? Local news picked it up, splicing the video with HOA complaints Karen had filed. Petty fines for faded flags, demands for tidier yards. Her inbox filled with hate mail, her phone buzzing with unknown numbers. Her employer, a law firm, emailed a warning. "Your conduct reflects on us. Address this." Karen was stunned. She'd meant it as a joke, a nudge to keep things orderly. But the video didn't lie. Her sneer, her careless words, they were cruel. She drafted a defense for the HOA forum. It was a misunderstanding. I didn't know he was disabled. But even as she typed, doubt crept in. She had known, or at least suspected, and still she'd spoken. She deleted the post, her hands trembling, and turned off her phone. The cul-de-sac, once her kingdom, felt hostile. Curtains twitched as neighbors whispered. A dog walker crossed the street to avoid her. The HOA called a meeting without her, a first in her 10-year tenure. Karen didn't go. She couldn't face the stairs, but the outcome reached her fast. She was suspended as president, pending review. The news hit X with glee. Karen's out. Good riddance. Her sister Diane called from Seattle, her voice cold. "You humiliated a kid, Karen. Fix this or don't bother calling me." Karen's daughter, Lauren, a junior in college, hadn't texted since the video dropped, her silence louder than any rebuke. Alone in her pristine living room, Karen felt the walls close in. She'd always seen herself as Pinewood's protector, the one who kept standards high. Now she was its pariah, branded by a moment she couldn't undo. She replayed the video, wincing at her own voice. Jacob's face, hurt, small, haunted her. She didn't know him, hadn't bothered to. He was just a kid, trying to get to a park, and she cut him down for no reason but her own need to control. Sleep eluded her. At dawn, she walked to the park, the scene of her crime. It was empty, the swings still, but she pictured Jacob there, his braces catching the light. She sat on a bench, her breath uneven, and let the truth settle. She'd been wrong. cruelly so. The realization wasn't freeing. It was heavy, a debt she didn't know how to pay. Karen didn't have a plan, but she couldn't stay still. She emailed the HOA, copying every resident. I mocked Jacob Torres, and I was wrong, she wrote. His braces, his walk, I had no right to judge. I'm sorry, to him, his family, and all of you. I'm stepping back to learn and do better. She hit send, heart racing, not expecting forgiveness, but needing to start somewhere. The response was brutal. Some called it fake. Others demanded she leave Pinewood. But a few replies were softer. Mr. Ellis, the retired vet, wrote, "Takes guts to admit that. Keep going." Jacob's mom, Maria, didn't respond, and Karen didn't blame her. Words weren't enough. Karen started researching cerebral palsy, mobility aids, the daily grind of kids like Jacob. Each article was a mirror, showing her ignorance. She'd seen braces as noise, not strength. Now she wanted to understand, not to erase her shame, but to carry it right. Karen's email didn't douse the fire. It barely dimmed it. Pinewood Estates churned with resentment. The video of her mocking Jacob replayed on X with fresh captions. Karen's sorry? Too late. The hashtag #GushArtPinewoodKaren clung to her like a shadow, spawning memes that turned her laugh into a cruel soundtrack. Her mailbox bore a new scar, spray paint reading "bully," and her law firm put her on unpaid leave, citing reputational risk. Karen didn't argue. She hadn't earned the right. She locked her doors, but the silence inside was louder than the hate outside. The HOA's suspension wasn't the end. A petition surfaced online, started by a neighbor, Carla Ruiz, demanding Karen's full removal from the board and a public apology to Jacob's family. It gained 2,000 signatures in days, many from strangers who'd seen the video. Carla posted on the forum, "We can't heal with Karen here. She shamed a kid for existing." The words stung, not because they were false, but because they were true. Karen had seen Jacob's braces as a flaw, his walk as a disruption. Now she was the disruption, and Pinewood wanted her gone. She avoided the cul-de-sac, taking back routes to the grocery store, but whispers followed. At the gas station, a cashier recognized her, muttering, "You're that HOA lady." Karen nodded, paid, and left, her face hot. Her daughter Lauren still hadn't called, her last text a knife. "I can't believe you, Mom." Karen wrote back, "I'm trying to fix it," but got no reply. The loneliness was new, raw, a mirror of the isolation she'd inflicted on Jacob with one careless jab. Yet something kept Karen moving. She started volunteering at a local disability support center, not to be seen but to learn. She sorted supplies, answered phones, and listened as parents shared stories of kids fighting for every step, of systems that failed them. One mother, talking about her son's walker, said, "People stare, but he's stronger than they'll ever know." Karen thought of Jacob, his braces, his quiet grit. She'd mocked that strength, and the shame burned fresh. The center wasn't a sanctuary, though. A volunteer, Sarah, recognized her from the news and whispered to a coworker. Karen overheard, "What's she doing here? Damage control?" She wanted to explain, but stayed silent, stacking pamphlets instead. Trust, she was learning, wasn't owed. It was earned, and she was deep in debt. Trouble flared again at a Pinewood community meeting, 2 months after the video. Karen hadn't planned to attend. Her suspension barred her. But Mr. Ellis, the vet who'd emailed her, urged her to show up. "Hiding's worse," he said. So she went, slipping into the back of the rec center, her pulse loud. Carla stood at the front, petition in hand, her voice sharp. "Karen's apology isn't enough. She humiliated Jacob Torres, and now she's playing victim. We need accountability, not excuses." The room split. Some clapped for Carla, others shifted uncomfortably. A younger neighbor, Tim, stood. "I get it. She messed up, but she's not running things anymore. Isn't that enough?" Carla shook her head. "Not when she's still here, reminding us of what she did." Karen's chest tightened, every eye await. She wanted to run, but her feet stayed rooted. Then Maria Torres spoke. Jacob's mom was a slight woman, her face etched with exhaustion, but her voice carried steel. "Jacob doesn't talk about that day," she said. "He's focused on school, his therapy. but I saw his face when he came home. He felt small. Karen did that. I don't care about her email. I care about my son. If she's really sorry, prove it. Words don't fix pain. Karen's throat closed. Maria's truth was a blade cutting through her fragile resolve. The meeting ended with no vote, too much heat, not enough consensus. But Carla's petition grew, now at 3,500 signatures. Ex-post raged, Pinewoods protecting a bully. A news van parked outside Karen's house filming a segment, HOA Scandal Divides Neighborhood. Her name, her face, her laugh. They were public property now. That night, Karen sat at her kitchen table, a notebook open. She wrote to Lauren again, not expecting a reply. I hurt someone, and I'm paying for it. But I want to be better. For you. For me. She mailed it, a small act of hope. Then she searched for Jacob's school, Pinewood High, and found a fundraiser for its accessibility program. New ramps, better doors. She donated anonymously, not much, but it felt like a step. Days later, she saw Jacob at the park, practicing steps with a therapist. His braces clicked, steady and proud. Karen stayed back, hidden by a tree, not wanting to intrude. He laughed at something, his face bright, and she felt a pang. Not guilt alone, but awe. He was fighting battles she'd never imagined, and she'd added to them. Karen kept volunteering, now helping with the center's youth workshops. She met kids like Jacob, teens with canes, wheelchairs, fierce dreams. One boy, Malik, told her, "People think I'm weak 'cause I limp. I'm not." She nodded, thinking of her own weakness, her snap judgment. "You're stronger than most," she said, and meant it. The petition loomed, but Karen focused on what she could touch. She emailed Maria, not to beg, but to offer. "I'd like to help with Jacob's fundraiser if you'll let me. No strings." Maria didn't reply, and Karen didn't push. She was learning to wait, to listen, to carry the weight without flinching. Pinewood wasn't healing yet. Carla's anger, the blog posts, the spray paint said as much. But Karen was changing. Honor wasn't in being perfect. It was in facing her flaws head on. Gratitude was in Malik's grin, Mr. Ellis's note, the chance to try again. Kindness was in showing up, even when the world shouted her down, hoping one day her actions might speak louder than her worst moment. 6 months after the video, Pinewood Estates was still a fractured puzzle, its pieces jagged with memory. Carla's petition fizzled at 4,000 signatures, lacking the teeth to force Karen out. But the Sedwer Shunshur Pinewood Karen hashtag lingered, a ghost that flared whenever local news needed clicks. Karen's law firm didn't reinstate her, and her driveway bore a new dent from a hurled bottle. Yet she kept moving, volunteering, learning, carrying her shame like a stone she refused to drop. She wasn't seeking absolution, she was seeking truth, and it started with seeing Jacob as more than her mistake. Spring brought Pinewood High's graduation, a milestone that hummed through the cul-de-sac. Karen heard about it from the support center, where volunteers buzzed about Jacob Torres. He'd been accepted to college, they said, with a scholarship for engineering. His therapy had paid off. He was walking short distances now, braces and all. Karen pictured his focused steps in the park, his laugh that day, and felt a quiet ache. She hadn't spoken to him or Maria since her email, hadn't dared. But the graduation was public, and something pulled her to go, not to be seen, but to witness. The school gym was packed, folding chairs spilling into aisles, air thick with pride and sweat. Karen slipped in late, standing at the back, her scarf a shield against recognition. Families waved banners, kids snapped selfies. Carla was there, glaring from a middle row, but Karen ignored her. Her eyes found Jacob in the sea of caps and gowns, his braces hidden under black fabric, his grin wide as he whispered to Mia, his friend from that awful night. The ceremony dragged, speeches, songs, but when the principal called Jacob's name, the room shifted. He stood slow but steady and began his walk across the stage. No cane, just his braces clicking faintly, each step a defiance of gravity and doubt. The crowd erupted, cheers louder than for anyone else, a wave of love that drowned out the past. Maria in the front row clapped through tears, her face alight. Karen's breath caught, her hands trembling as she joined the applause, unseen but present. Jacob paused mid-stage, scanning the crowd. His eyes landed on Karen, brief but sure, and he nodded, a small, deliberate gesture. It wasn't forgiveness, not exactly, but acknowledgement, and it hit her like sunlight. She cried, silent and raw, as he took his diploma and walked on, unbroken. The moment could have been enough, but Pinewood wasn't done with her. Post-graduation, Carla rallied a final push at an HOA meeting, demanding a community values resolution to shun Karen formally. "She's a stain," Carla said, her petition now a prop. "Jacob's success doesn't erase what she did." X buzzed anew. Karen's still haunting Pinewood. A blog post revived her old HOA emails, calling her a serial complainer. Karen's first instinct was to fight, to prove she'd changed, but she stopped. Fighting had built this mess. Listening might unbuild it. She went to the meeting, uninvited, and asked to speak. The room tensed. Carla's scowl, Mr. Ellis's nod, Maria's unreadable stare. Karen stood, no notes, just truth. "I mocked Jacob's braces," she said, voice steady despite her shaking hands. "I hurt him, Maria, all of you. I was cruel because I didn't see him. Just my rules, my control. I'm sorry, and I'll keep proving it. Not with words, but actions. If you want me gone, I'll respect it. But I'm here trying, because Pinewood's worth it." Maria spoke next, her voice low but firm. "Jacob saw you at graduation. He said you clapped. I don't trust you, Karen, but I saw your donation to his fundraiser. Anonymous, but it was you. That matters. Not enough to forget, but enough to watch." The room exhaled, torn but listening. Carla pushed for a vote, but it failed. 55% against shunning, a slim mercy. Karen didn't celebrate. She thanked Maria with a nod and left, the weight lighter but still there. The aftermath wasn't tidy. Ex-posts grumbled. Pinewood's weak, but others shifted. Maybe she's learning. Karen kept volunteering, now mentoring teens at the center, helping with college applications. She met Jacob there once by chance, sorting robotics kits. "Thanks for coming to graduation," he said, eyes on the parts. "It was cool." She smiled, careful not to overstep. "You were incredible," she said, and he shrugged, but his grin flickered. Lauren called weeks later, her voice softer. "I got your letter," she said. "I'm still mad, but you're trying, Mom. That's something." They talked, halting but real, a thread mending. Karen didn't push. She was learning to let time work. Pinewood changed slowly. The HOA eased rules. Less fines, more picnics. Jacob's scholarship news spread, his robotics club winning regionals. Karen donated again, openly this time, and Maria sent a text. "He says thanks. It wasn't friendship, but it was enough." Karen walked the cul-de-sac one evening. No clipboard, just quiet steps. She passed Jacob's house, lights warm, and thought of his stage walk. Each click a lesson she'd carry. Her past wasn't gone. Carla's glares, the blog's barbs. But it wasn't her future. Honor was in her apology, spoken to a room that didn't have to listen. Gratitude was in Jacob's nod, Maria's text, Lauren's call. Kindness was in the work. Mentoring, giving, seeing kids like Jacob as they were. Not as she'd assumed. The spray paint on her mailbox faded, but Karen didn't repaint it. It was a mark, like her shame, worth keeping. She wasn't Pinewood's queen anymore, nor its villain. Just a woman who'd stumbled, learned, and found her way to care. Jacob's steps echoed in her, a rhythm of resilience, reminding her that growth, like walking, was hard but possible, one choice at a time. The end.